all of the players in the lobby, and we're going to be heading straight into Champion Select for you guys. If you've just joined us and you've not heard my voice before, my name is Munchables, and casting with me today is Osigalis. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. I'm very excited to get into this game, and this is the first one of the semifinals we're going to be showing. Obviously, the other semis reorganized for next week, so it's going to be a good one. It's between two really good teams. Dark Passage from Turkey, they were in Worlds. They've gone quite far in their career, although several roster changes since then, and SK Prime, who have got some really good players on their team. It was 2 days ago, I believe, we saw Godbro in the quarters just decimate people. He played really, really well. So I can't wait to see what these teams bring out today. And, straight into the pick and bans, we got Jason Zed banned out on SK Prime, Nar and Warwick so far banned out on Dark Passage.
Yeah, fairly standard bans coming out so far. Just before we get too deep into the Champion Select, obviously just want to give a shout out to Western Digital, our sponsor. Thank you so much, obviously. And make sure you do follow us on the social media. The links are on your screen, facebook.com/BlackMonsterCup and @BlackMonsterCup on Twitter. But as we've said, the bans so far, Nar, Warwick, Jace and Zed. Jace, the only one there that's not 100% a meta pick. Well, not 100% a ban, I would say better. Obviously, it's picked up quite a lot, but not picked in every single game.
Yeah, and actually the last ban for SKP did not go through. They decided not to do a third ban. BMC instantly locking in Irelia, and as I expected, Elwin's hovering over this Malphite. He does lock it in. We've seen this matchup favoring Elwin's Malphite like 4 or 5 times so far in the Black Monster Cup. Every time he plays Malphite into Irelia, he dominates. So I'm really looking forward to see if he can actually continue his streak, or if BMC can take him down this time in that matchup.
Yeah, we're going to see that Lucian locked in for Padden as well. We've seen him do incredible work on that Lucian, and I would expect to see a counter lock of Corki for Steelback as well. I would expect that to be locked in. Obviously, they don't need to pick it immediately because they know what AD carry they're against. They're not in any danger of that being picked up, so they can hold that till their last pick if they wish. But this Corki Lucian, it's a matchup that we're seeing basically every single game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, basically, with Lucian, and, typically we'd be seeing it with a Janna or a Nami, you've got pretty good control of the lane, you can poke a lot, you can trade really well, you've got sustain and the ability to mitigate some of that damage either way. And on the flip side, with the Corki Thresh lane, which is pretty much every time we see Corki, we're seeing it with Thresh, they've got the potential to go all in really nicely once they get some items, because the Corki, as he works to that Triforce, picking up a Sheen is going to be able to burst so hard in those exchanges. So it's one of those lanes that's very skill-based. I say it's relatively even. Either side can win that matchup. And 2 other picks that we should talk about real quick. Elise being picked up for SKP, that is one of those ones which fell out of popularity, has been creeping back in 4.20. Actually picked this morning in OGN, if anyone saw that. And Kale being picked up as the 4th pick for Dark Passage. And that's one that we saw banned 2 days ago again, 3 out of the 4 games or something like that, but it was never picked.
It was actually in the LoL PL we saw that ban. We were casting a Russian tournament yesterday, and
getting them all mixed up.
Banned in 3 of the 4 games that we cast. So obviously, I mean, I've not seen Kale in a competitive game in a long time, so I'm very excited to see how this pans out. I mean, it's going to be... unless it's in the jungle, which I highly doubt, it's going to be in the mid lane. We already have the Malphite top lane.
Actually, the jungle Kale is a thing which might be creeping into the meta. I don't know if you will have seen this, but as of 30 minutes before this tournament started, I was in a solo queue game, and someone said that he had seen a jungle Kale, and he wanted to copy it on some pro player stream. He just dominated. Jungle Kale is actually apparently really, really strong, and if you break it down and start to think about why it might be really strong, she does have good sustain through that heal, and also she has a lot of AoE clear that can help her get through the jungle really quickly. So it's not, it makes a little bit of sense. I have not seen it in a pro match yet, but I am aware of people trying it out, and it seems like Dark Passage want to be one of the teams to try and see if they can make it work in a pro game. Godbro, though, hang on a second, he got his Syndra again. Now that was crazy last time we saw him on it. He was hitting so many insane Scatter the Weeks on 3, 4 targets. I think one time he even hit a 5-man Scatter the Week where the team was spread out. You know, it was using multiple orbs. It was really, really impressive. And he's going to be up against Naru's Ahri, who we've also seen do really well so far.
Yeah, now we know Naru is an incredibly good Ahri player, but Ahri versus Syndra is not a favourable matchup for the Ahri. You do get bullied out a little bit in that lane, but one massive thing I want to point out, right now, we don't have a smite on the side of DP. He's rolling that heal. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or if that's a mistake, but if it is, that's a pretty big mistake to make. Oh, he has just changed it to a smite. Thank God for that. I wasn't sure if we were seeing some crazy weird strategy coming out. He has changed that in the end now. But yeah, as I was saying, Syndra has quite a favourable matchup in that mid lane.
Yeah, Syndra is very good in that middle lane. Obviously, one of the big reasons for that is upon hitting level 6, Spirit Rush would normally let you evade a lot of the big ultimates that mid laners have upon reaching that level 6 power spike. Like if you're playing Ahri into Orianna, you can dodge the Shockwave. If you're playing Ahri into just most other matchups, you have a method of dealing with their power spike really nicely, and it puts you in a good position. Against a Syndra, that ultimate is just targeted. Unleash Power can just target on Ahri, do tons and tons of damage, and the Syndra's just going to play back until she maybe hits a stun. Once she's guaranteed that she's going to get the max damage out of that, she'll go in for the Unleash Power, and it's really difficult for Nara to actually deal with on that Ahri pickup.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously earlier on in the lane phase, it is a bit of a skill matchup. If Naru's able to dodge those Scatter the Weeks, maybe land a charm onto Godbro, it could definitely swing into his favour, so we'll have to see how that goes. But I think a lot of that lane could well be down to jungle pressure, and I'm really not sure how this jungle's going to go, really. I mean, Elise versus Kayle. Kayle, I mean, I've not seen a Kayle jungle. Even in previous seasons, I've not seen a Kayle jungle. Whereas Elise, we've seen a massive amount of Elise jungle over the sort of the last season prior to her nerf, and starting to see that come back into the meta again.
Well, I'm looking forward to it too. We are going to go to a quick music break, guys, but when we get back, we have Game 1 of your semifinals, SK Prime versus Dark Passage.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Summoner's Rift. We're here with the Black Monster Cup. We're in the semi-finals between Dark Passage and SK Prime. On the bottom left of your screen, the blue side of the map, we have SK Prime. We're going to see BMC in the top lane playing Aurelia, Taiki in the jungle playing Elise, Godbro Oni-chan in the mid lane playing Syndra, Steelback in the AD carry role playing Corki, and the Barney D on support playing Thresh.
And in the top right-hand side of the map on the red team, we've got Dark Passage, Elwind in that top lane on his Malphite pickup. We've seen him do so well on that before. Can't wait to see him this time. Crystal in the jungle on Kayle. First time we've seen that. Naru in the mid lane on Ahri. Padden in the bottom lane on AD carry playing Lucian. And Velastraza on support playing Nami.
Indeed, and this should be a pretty damn good matchup. We've seen both of these teams have incredibly strong showings previously, and by the looks of things, we could have a little bit of contention for these Gromps that we've seen these bottom lanes start off so regularly.
Yeah, I mean, this makes a lot of sense. You don't want to give that free experience over to your opponents if possible. And, you know, they need to be careful, though. Steelback and Barney D know that they're going to get invaded on in a second.
They're ready for this. This is intense. Velastraza on the front line. He's going to get flayed back. Here's going to be the Phosphorus Bomb. Actually goes on to Padden, splitting the damage across. Neither team's going too aggressive. Neither of them want to commit to that, but it's going to mean neither of them get that early level 2.
To be honest, that wasn't that bad for Dark Passage. Considering that they were the ones who got ambushed, they actually did a really good job of Velastraza not taking too much damage, and now they're actually pushing the wave. They're going to hit level 2 first, and might be able to shove back onto Steelback in the Barney D. In the mid lane, Nara's done quite a good job dodging out the orbs so far, and putting down a lot of orb deceptions onto Godbro. He's doing a really nice job in the middle lane. Not CSing so well, though.
No, but I think that's one thing that tends to happen in this early matchup. Ahri obviously has a much longer cooldown on the Q than we see Syndra having, and it's a little bit harder to hit, I'd argue, as well. But we should see those CS numbers start to even out a little bit as the game goes on, but we'll have to see how that matchup pans out.
Yeah, Naro landed some good orbs early on, but now that Godbro is level 2, he's just doing an excellent job of poking him down. Naro only has the 1 health potion left. Top lane, Elwin and BMC just slapping each other out. BMC's doing a really good job of staying ahead in CS so far, but if you look at the regeneration items on Elwin, he's still got 3 charges of his flask and 3 potions. He's been able to sit in lane for so long, making sure that he doesn't lose too much CS. We actually see Crystal come to this top lane. Elwin's doing a good job of baiting this in.
Yeah, Elwin knowing exactly how much he can take, and now we see Crystal going in onto BMC. That's going to be the stun going down. The flash goes. Crystal Meth going to flash after him, though. The red buff is going to slow that down. That's going to be first blood coming across to Crystal.
This is one of the strengths of Kayle as well. She actually has very strong ganks when you come out of the jungle, with the ability to both heal and speed someone up, slow someone down. Hang on bot lane though.
Yeah, we see the death sentence does land onto Velistraza. There's the ebb and flow, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive. Taiki is here as well. Velistraza so low. They're going to donate this one over to Steelback. No way out of here for him. That's going to be a nice kill for SK Prime, and it's a 1-1 so far, but Crystal Meth waiting in this top lane. Not going to be able to get anything off this though.
He's just camping Elwin at the moment. I actually really like that decision, because if you look at the previous games that Dark Passage have played in the BMC, Elwin has been one of the biggest carrying factors for Dark Passage. Every time he gets in Malphite especially, he goes 7 for 0, 5 for 0, decent assist numbers on top of that too. So camping for him and making sure he gets strong makes a lot of sense. Bot lane though, there's a dive here.
Yeah, Padden could be in a lot of trouble. This is going to be the TP coming down. The Death Sentence does land though. There's the Ignite. Padden should be going down here. Taiki with a nice repel. Going to secure that for his support. The Ignite obviously picking that one up now. Taiki could be in a little bit of trouble here. Does have Flash available if he needs to. Yeah, that's going to be him getting out of there safely. And SK Prime with a really nice calculated dive in the bot lane.
Yeah, Crystal coming into Godbro in the mid lane though.
I'm not sure this is a 1v1 that he necessarily wants. We do have his mid laner coming though. Oni-chan, sorry, Godbro. Going to be able to scatter the weak to stun them both out and quite comfortably survive that one.
I think Oni-chan means brother, right? So God,
does
brother, something like that. I'm not Japanese, but in any case, in that mid lane, that actually did not go very well for Dark Passage. Crystal got chunked very low. Naru tried to come down to help, and actually, instead of using the time that he had in the mid lane without an opponent to get back ahead in CS, he went down, took some poke, and now he's still 10 CS behind, even though he had an opportunity to maybe get some of that deficit back on his side. So, not ideal also. Elwin, because he teleported bottom and did not get anything, is now very far behind in CS from Beansu. He's still doing a decent job here, you know, harassing Beansu down. He does a lot of damage, actually, considering that he hasn't built any armor, which on Malphite does translate into damage, or AP, which is the other typical damage build we see. He's just got that giant spell, but he's still doing a lot of damage, actually, to Beansu.
Yeah, and I mean, we're starting to see these CS discrepancies come across the board, really. SK Prime doing an incredible job to be slightly ahead in all three lanes. The Taiki comes in the bot lane, just going to miss the cocoon, but a really nice death sentence onto Velistraza. That's going to be him absolutely burst down. Steelback picking up his second kill of the game, and a Corki getting fed this early is not what you want to see if you're Dark Passage right now.
Definitely not. I mean, we've talked about this a few times in a number of games we've cast recently, but a combination we see so frequently is Irelia in the top lane with a Corki in the bottom lane. Now, these two don't directly interact with each other in the early game or anything like that, but they power spike at the same time when they pick up that Trinity Force, which at these high levels they do very, very early. As soon as you get Trinity Force on both of those champions, you go for a dragon fight. It is so difficult to actually contest that because they spike so strongly so early. And actually there, Crystal went to that bottom lane. He wanted to try and help recover some of that deficit, you know, on the side of Dark Passage, but unfortunately Taiki was already there a few seconds earlier and just stopped his gank completely. Crystal needs to make something happen elsewhere on the map in order to recover some of the pressure that SK Prime are putting onto his team.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised right now if SK Prime try and go for something crazy like a really early dragon play. I mean, they know that Beansu's teleport is going to be up before Elwin's, but we see Taiki coming into this top lane right now. Elwin has to flash away. The cocoon is still available if he can land it. That's going to be the Spiderling to scout that out. The cocoon does land. There's the Venomous Bite with the execute damage. Beansu should be able to pick this one up for himself here. I would expect the Blades to... Actually, Transcendent Blade's going to come off cooldown again. That's going to pick that one up. And a nice little gank there. And SK Prime starting to pull significantly ahead already.
They're doing a really good... Oh, Belestraza getting
Belestraza again getting caught out. Actually, Godbro in a lot of trouble. That's the ultimate from Naru. The Ignite is ticking. Does he have the damage to finish it? Last charge of the ultimate, not quite enough. Meth trying to do what he can. He does manage to pick up the kill in the end. Going to be able to walk away from that one. Get some pressure down onto this tower. Oh, Taiki actually gets caught up by the charm. I don't think they're going to want to dive under the tower again. Repel is a second too late there. On about 50 HP. Has to scuttle away from that one. He's going to have to go back to base.
If Crystal had been level 6 there, they would have just gone straight onto Taiki as soon as he appeared. With that ability to completely negate damage, they could have done that dive very nicely. Bot lane, though, this is looking so bad for Dark Passage so far. There's a 0-1-0 Lucian and a 0-2-0 Nami. And actually, I do have to say Padden is doing a good job of keeping up on CS, but if the ganks keep coming in like this, they're going to fall really far behind. We've already got the Phage picked up on Steelback. It's only 9 minutes. He could maybe look towards getting, you know, a 15-minute or earlier Triforce this game, and at that point, it's going to be so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, we are actually seeing the Flay coming down, Barney D being very aggressive, but actually Elwin could be in trouble in this top lane. Hidden Style already used, he doesn't have any True's damage, that's going to be the unstoppable force coming across onto Beanstalk. He's very low, has to flash out of that fight. A fight he decides he doesn't want anymore. As soon as the Hidden Style goes on cooldown, he just doesn't have the damage to take down Elwin.
Yeah, it does give him so much sustain. Elwin, oh, bot lane though.
Yeah, Taiki coming in for another gank. Belestraza has to use the flash, manages to dodge out from the cocoon, but the death sentence is going to be more than enough. Barney D actually picking that kill up with the box, and this bot lane is starting to snowball hard. Both of those guys have 2 kills right now.
That was pretty unfortunate for Dark Passage. They actually had nearly perfect vision, still fell to that. Elwin at the top, like baiting in here.
Elwin again with the perfect bait. Ooh, tries to go back in. Nice play there by Beanstalk, but an intervention is going to save Elwin's life. But in the meantime, they're trading this top lane tower for a dragon, which is a trade that we see very often. Actually, they might not even be able to get the top lane tower. No damage on that just yet.
Yeah, they don't really have enough yet. Crystal, all he's got is that Ranger's Trailblazer with the Devourer enchant on it. So it gives him a lot of attack speed, some cooldown reduction, and damage against creatures and champions. But it doesn't increase your damage to towers, so he's not really hitting that very hard yet. Similarly, Elwind, he's building very tanky, he doesn't have much damage to kill the towers, and they weren't able to get that in exchange for the dragon, so SK Prime point further and further ahead, even though Beansu actually died in that top lane. Also, the intervention there was actually used unnecessarily. It was right after Beansu died. There wasn't any more damage coming down onto Elwind. He's now burned that cooldown. Thankfully for Crystal, though, it isn't very long. 75 seconds only at level 1. That's actually pretty good compared to a lot of ultimates.
Yeah, intervention renowned for its incredibly low cooldown, and I mean that's one of the reasons that Kayle is such a viable champion. And I believe when we sort of saw the end of mid lane Kayle, one of the big nerfs that came on was increasing that cooldown because it was just ridiculously short. But we are going to be seeing again these top laners having a bit of a wet noodle fight up in the top lane. Not really got enough damage to do too much to each other just yet. And we could see Barney D go aggressive again onto Belestraza. That's going to be the tidal wave. Is it going to save his life? It could well do. Naru's coming down as well. They're going to be able to back away from that one. In the meantime, though, Elwin could be in a lot of trouble. Absolute force. I mean, unstoppable force having to be used to get him out of there. He's going to be able to survive another day, though. Still has teleport available, so going to be able to get back to his lane.
That should definitely be a champion. The Nunu mixed with Malphite. Absolute force. It just dashes forward and slows everyone instead of knocking them up. In any case, there's going to be a siege here, relatively early, 12-minute siege on this middle lane. Nara does actually get hooked, taking a lot of poke, and the Barney D has been so good with his hook so far this game. In that bot lane, when Taiki came in for that last gank that he did, we saw a few minutes ago, there was perfect vision on that, but because Death Sentence is so long range and landed from an amazing position, Taiki closed the distance all the way from the Tribush to the lane, while Dark Passage bot lane was actually retreating. It was such a good play, and Barney D just keeps landing those amazing hooks. If he keeps this up, you know, you might want to see a QSS on Padden or something. He needs to be able to get away from this stuff.
He does indeed, and I mean, Barney D has been doing excellently. But in all honesty, Paddon's not really been the one getting caught by any of this. It's been Belestraza over and over again. We've seen Naru get caught in that mid lane just once, but didn't go down to that one. And Belestraza, on the other hand, died 3 times. Actually,
Naru.
Another perfect death sentence is going to land onto Naru. The Cocoon going to follow, just completely negating any engage that Dark Passage might want to do.
Yeah, this is actually a really difficult team composition to engage on in certain situations. Thankfully, they've got Malphite to go in there with the Unstoppable Force and actually get that hard engage. But aside from that, they really need to land that Ahri Charm, or they need a unusually good at initiating Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave isn't really that great at initiating. It's better as a disengage tool. Whereas on the flip side, you know, you look at BMC, he can get in pretty easily. So can Taiki. Godbro can land those long-range stuns. Barney D's got lots of engage tools, but they're also a lot of disengage tools on the side of SK Prime. You've got the box, you've got Scatter the Weak. You know, they've got stuff they can do to both engage and disengage. And as a result of that, it's going to be up to... Oh, hang on, mid lane though.
Oh, we see the 1v1 going down. Godbro manages to dodge out from the charm. Does he have the damage to return though? They're both incredibly low. In the meantime, we see a 2v2 in this top lane. There's the intervention onto Elwyn. That's going to save his life for now. The Unstoppable Boss is going to knock everyone up, but BMC manages to get the stun at the last second. That's going to be a double kill coming across for Taiki. In the meantime, Steelback trying to go aggressive in the bot lane. Not going to be able to secure anything there though.
That was a pretty intense fight in the top lane, and this is sort of the problem with the build that Crystal's going for. It scales really nicely as you get more and more jungle kills in order to get the Devour stacks up, but he had nowhere near enough damage to compete with Taiki there. Taiki just comes in, uses the percentage health abilities, both his Noxious Blast and his Q in Spider form, to do so much upfront damage that Elwind and Crystal just didn't have the damage to return on that.
Yeah, really, really well played by them. I mean, the intervention kept Element alive for a little bit, but then they just immediately turned straight onto Crystal. And, I mean, he's just not tanky at all at this stage. 3-1-0, but he's going straight towards that damage, which is an understandable build on Kale. You do a lot of damage, but Belestraza actually picking a pretty unfavourable 1v1. The crit comes through, along with the Sheen proc, doing so much damage to Belestraza. 2 more auto attacks, he would have gone down there.
This is what I was talking about earlier on in this game. I was saying that 15 minutes we might be expecting to see that Trinity Force come out of Steelback. He's got it, so's Beamsu, and now they're grouping up. They know they've just power spiked, they want to go for some sieges, and they're going to get this middle tower at only 15 minutes.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to pay off perfectly for them. The death sentence lands from Barney D again. Denies one of the Spirit Rushes with the Flay, but obviously 3 charges on that ability. Naru's going to be able to get away, and an Ignite burned as well there, so not too bad for Naru, but very, very close.
Oh, Elwyn needs to be careful here, actually.
Elwyn does get stopped, but I'm not sure Beansu wants to go for the all-in, or does he? Looks like he's chasing some design to back away in the end there. A nice Scatter the Weak in that mid lane is going to stop any engages happening there as well. But the Dragon going to be spawning in 10 seconds. SK Prime are heading back to base. They're going to be giving up this objective if Dark Passage want to go for it. It looks like they've decided they're not basing. We'll see if we see a fight coming out for this one. I would expect both teams to want to try and fight for this objective. Neither team too far behind just yet.
I'm not sure that Dark Passage will try too heavily to defend this dragon. The problem is that, as I was saying earlier, those Trinity Forces mean that the power spike coming out of SK Prime is really, really strong right now. If they want to go for a fight, firstly, they absolutely need Elwyn. And secondly, they absolutely need a really good Unstoppable Force, and not for Crystal to get caught.
Yeah, that's going to be the Cocoon landing onto Crystal. He's so low. That's going to be the Venomous Bite. Picks that kill up. Taiki with a really nice play there. Going to pick up a kill for his team. And with 1 member down, this could quite easily be a free dragon for SK Prime. They are going to head straight over to that, and just really, really nice consistent play from SK Prime so far this game.
That was a really weird decision from Crystal to walk up like that without vision. You know, he took so much burst damage, and he knows that that's a possibility because you've got that Elise on the other team, you've got the Barney D on Thresh. Both of those champions can catch you out and make it very easy for their team to follow up. Mid lane Naru.
Naru gets caught up by the Scatter of the Week. There's the Spirit Rush coming out again, and this Spirit Rush paying dividends for him, but the death sentence not quite going to land, but BMC does not care. He's going in anyway. The Flay going to pick that kill up for his team now. Elwin on this front line, he's very tanky, but is he tanky enough? A really nice flash from BMC, dodging out from that Malphite ultimate. They're trying to finish him off, but he's so tanky, but then Crystal Meth gets caught by the death sentence. He's going to go down. Velistraza trying to save his teammate goes down as well. BMC picks up 2 kills there, and SK Prime look untouchable right now.
Dark Passage are really not playing appropriately considering how far behind they are right now. You look at the dragon fight that just happened, and Crystal shouldn't have walked that far up. He didn't have the vision. He knew that there's a pick composition coming out from SKP. Then, you look at that just there, and Elwin and Elwin Crystal rather, tried to save Naru's life 3 versus 5 against a team that's really fed and has so much crowd control. That was never going to work, and at best case scenario, they would actually just get taken low, not save Naru's life, and get away. Worst case scenario, they all die, which is what happened. And, you know, they need to wait until late game. They need to wait until Crystal starts hitting for ridiculous amounts of DPS. They need to wait until Elwin is crazy tanky and can just unstoppable force in there and be unstoppable, rather than very easily stoppable, which is what he is now. You know, they're not really playing appropriately considering how far behind they are, and if they don't stop the bleeding, they're gonna bleed out.
They are indeed, and right now SK looking incredibly strong. 5,000 or 5,500 gold ahead of their opponents right now, and look across the board. They've got 3 deaths across their entire board, and 4 different players starting to feel very fed, actually having 3 kills on the Barney D, but I'd say with the hooks he's thrown out, he's deserved them this game, and having the kills on your support around this early towards mid-game is not actually that bad of a thing. I mean, you get the shield early from the heart of the mountain, and Crystal. Sorry, but Crystal Meth getting caught yet again. A really nice intervention, gonna block out the Syndra ult from Godbro, but now the tidal wave comes through. It's not gonna land onto anyone. Taiki, though, gets caught by that unstoppable force. Finally managed to pick themselves up something, but BMC on this back line, he's trying to get onto Nami, and he is so tanky right now. Picks up 1 kill, that's going to go across to Corki. Now Padden is on the front line, he's trying to get away from this one. BMC looks like he wants to go aggressive. Elwin here on the sidelines, having to walk all the way around, and despite a really nice beginning to the fight, they still trade 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, that was a nice beginning to the fight, but they made the mistake of chasing Taiki. Yes, they got the kill for it, and yes, it was only a 1-for-1, but realistically what they should have done there is just backed away. The reason for that is BMC came in from the flank only because they chased so far down the lane that he wasn't going to be just dying to the tower. Had they not gone for Taiki, they could have just traded the intervention cooldown for the unleashed power and walked away, not lost the tower, bought themselves more time to get the farm on the members that they need. They didn't decide to do that, and now Naru, though...
Yeah, Naru could be in trouble. That's the phosphorus bomb. A nice flash is gonna... He's still gonna go down anyway, but a nice flash anyway. And a double kill comes across for Steelback. Obviously, Padden trying to save his teammate, but he's just gonna get first down so quickly.
Again, Naru playing, especially Naru it seems to be this game, has been playing way too aggressive. He was really far up without any vision to the sides of him, and if you look, there are no other towers at all on this map for Dark Passage, so you can quite easily get flanked if you're in that mid lane by the outer tower position. That's exactly what happened. Steelback was in the Reykjavik camp, and he had no way out after that point. There needs to be better vision for Dark Passage if they want to pursue these very risky plays, and it doesn't even mean that they can't do the risky plays, right? They can do it, and if they pay off, they're going to pay off in a big way. They just need the vision to actually allow them the space to work with to accommodate that kind of play.
I mean, what do you feel... Oh, actually, we don't have time to talk about that now, because Velistraza has been caught out again. That's going to be the tidal wave. Lands onto 3 people. BMC getting exhausted in this front line. That's going to be 1 going down. Can they finish off this kill onto Naru? That's going to be a flash. Cocoon comes through. Taiki doing work for his team. Picks up yet another kill. Crystal on this front line. A nice intervention. Going to keep him alive for a second. Is it going to be long enough, though? Padden manages to get the counter kill, but he goes down for that. Now, Barney D 1v1ing Elwind here. Throws out the hook. That's going to let Godbro get close enough. Misses the Scout of the Week, though. The stun not going to go down. Actually, unstoppable force onto BMC. That's not a target that you want to start a fight with right now, Elwind. And after all of that, it's a 2-for-1, but SK Prime yet again coming out on top of a fight.
Yeah, and they keep getting objectives to complement their fight victories. That's another thing, you know. Anytime the DP has even come close to winning a fight, they've just had to back away and, you know, lick their wounds. Whereas, if we look at SK Prime, they're just steamrolling forward every time they win a fight. They get some kind of an objective. Dragon's up in 30 seconds. If they get that, it is going to be their third dragon buff. That's 5% move speed. At this point in game, 23 minutes, when you're pushing this much, getting that 5% move speed is going to help you rotate, and it's going to be very, very strong on the side of SKP. So we're likely going to see them rush for that as soon as they can. This time, though, it does look like DP are going to be in the neighborhood. They're going to be able to see it start. They're going to try and defend it, but it doesn't have the unstoppable force, though. I'm not sure they can win a fight without that. Also, Tidal Wave still has a quarter of its cooldown left.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, they're starting the dragon off, but Crystal Meth is going to get caught off by the CC again. The Cocoon follows after the Death Sentence. Intervention used just on the Ignite, and that's going to be Naru going down. Now Belestraza comes to follow. BMC looking like he wants to go onto Padden. A nice flash, but it's not going to be enough. Padden gets stunned up. Steelback going to be able to follow up on that one, and that is a 3 for 0 yet again for SK Prime. And we see the surrender vote come out at 24 minutes. SK Prime take the victory.
Munch, that was an incredible game. At least for SK Prime. They just dismantled Dark Passage methodically. They annihilated